Hello, the company we're analyzing today is Natco Pharma Limited. This company is a pharmaceutical company. Okay, it sells drugs. And this company has displayed some very impressive growth. So, over the last 10 years, the company has displayed a compounded sales growth of 18%. Last 5 years, 18%. Last 3 years, 32% compounded sales growth. Profit is even more impressive. The last 10 years, the compounded profit growth has been 29%. Last 5 years, 33%. Last 3 years, 139%. So, in the last decade, at least when talking about a longer period of time, in this case, 10 years, the company has produced some very nice profit growth, extremely nice profit growth, and some really nice sales growth. And along with that, this company has some of the best, if not the best, profit margins right now in the Indian pharmaceutical industry. So here is the profit and loss of this company from 2014 all the way to 2025. A bit to the right, we will get to that. Here you can see the sales, the operating profit. Even we go down, we see the net profit. Now, pay attention to OPM or the operating profit margins. Okay, directly before operating profit, we have operating profit margins, OPM. It was 24% in 2014. We move forward all the way to 2025. Let's see. All the way to 2025, what do we see? We see sales of 4,430 crores. We see an operating profit of 2,196 crores, an operating profit margin of 50%. 50% is, again, maybe the best profit margins, operating profit margins in the entire Indian pharmaceutical company. Now, this could be a one off year. Even before that, 44%, 35%. There was a dip, 14%. Yeah, 14%, 14% see. And but before that, 2020, 30%, 38% in 2019, 42% operating profit margins all the way in 2018. So this company has some of the best, if not the best, operating profit margins. All of these things look pretty good. Now, but there is one problem with this company. All right, a big problem. And to analyze this problem, we're going to go to the con calls of this company. Okay, let me pull this up. We have here three con calls. Okay, where management itself has said that the company is going to experience some volatility from now on. Okay, three con calls. One held at February 13, another one held at May 29, then August 13, the latest one. Three con calls. And what's the thing we're going to study in this con calls? Now, in this con call, March 29th, okay, 2025, this meeting was held, this conference call was held, and here an important thing was said. Okay, okay, hold up. No, wait. Uh, Hold up. No. An important thing was said. Maybe I recorded it wrong. Uh, where is it? Where is the important thing? Yes, I found it. Yes, I finally found it. My fault, completely my fault. Yes, it was page 4 of the con call. Yes, page 4 of this con call. I wrote it as page 14. Completely my fault. So, page 4 of this con call, the management, the CEO of this company said that the company estimates a possible dip in revenue by 20% and profits by 30% due to geopolitical uncertainties and pricing pressure in its core product portfolio in the US and increased R&D expenses. Big sentence, but 20% decline in revenue and 30% decline in profits for fiscal year 2026. A decline. Why such a decline? But even bigger decline is coming because the company has said that where is it? Yes, the company has said this is said by the CEO Rahul was someone who asked the question in the con call. He's answering. See, Rahul, I've answered that question. So basically, what I've said that we should do well this year. What is this year? This year means fiscal year 2025. We should do well next year, fiscal year 2026. By well, a 20% decline in revenue, 30% decline in profits, fiscal 2026. But you should pursue soon in fiscal year 2027 that we should see a drop of more than 50 to 60% in our earnings. So in fiscal year 2026, the company is anticipating a decline in revenues by 20% and profits 30%. Then in fiscal year 2027, the company is forecasting a decline of 50 to 60% in our earnings compared to fiscal year 2025 earnings. So, what were the earnings in fiscal year 2025? Now, fiscal 2025 was an amazing year for Natco. Okay, let me just pull that up very fast. Okay, we had sales of 4,430 crores. We covered that. Amazing profits, and finally, a profit after tax of 1,883 crores. Okay, so in fiscal year 2026, management is stating they're expecting 20% decline. So this will decline by around 360 crores. Sorry, 30% decline in profit after tax. This will decline by around 540 crores. In fiscal year 2027, this figure from 1800 crores, 50 to 60% decline. So potentially, profit after tax will go to 800 crores or around 900 crores in like 2 years' time. So from this great growth trajectory, okay, great growth, what happened? Why are we anticipating such massive declines? The reason is this, not this, my mistake. Revlimid, yes, Revlimid. This is an anti-cancer drug, okay? It's used to treat multiple types of myeloma, mantle cell lymphoma, many other types of lymphoma. It's an anti-cancer drug and it's a blockbuster drug. This drug has generated billions and billions of dollars globally and especially in the US market. Okay, United States market, this drug has generated billions of dollars and it's a patented drug. It's under patent. Now, Natco Pharma, Natco Pharma, along with a few other companies, what they were able to do is that they were able to settle a dispute. They were able to get a settlement with the original developer of Revlimid. See, Celgene Corporation, the original developer of Revlimid, they were able to have a settlement. So Natco, Zydus, Sun Pharma, Cipla, a few other companies were able to have this settlement, which allowed them to sell a generic version of this cancer drug Revlimid. Okay, so you may be wondering, so what's the issue here? Now, Revlimid is about to expire in January 2026. Now, earlier, when only Natco and a few other companies had access, were allowed to sell a limited amount. See, they were allowed to sell only a limited set amount of Revlimid. Now, January 2026 onwards, any company, of course, not any company, but any company authorized can sell whatever amount of generic they want to. So, these prices will deteriorate. Revenue from Revlimid will deteriorate by 80-90%. It's been shown again. These very valuable generic drugs or these very valuable drugs which are patented. Once they expire, the patent expires, there's a massive fall in revenue by 70-80%. It's been seen again because so many generic version, so many volumes of generic version enter the market. You may still be wondering, so what? Revlimid, okay, it's going to expire, and it's Natco's one of Natco's products. How important is Revlimid? The thing is, there was one quarter, there was one quarter in fiscal year 2025 where it could sell no Revlimid. Okay, here we have the quarterly results of this company. And what was this quarter? The quarter was December 2024. The quarter ending at December 2024. Okay, we saw no Revlimid. Natco saw no Revlimid sales because again, number of Revlimid they can sell is capped. Okay, there's only a certain number of they can sell. So all they could sell was exhausted in September. By September 2024, it was exhausted, whatever their quota was. And December, no sales. So sales fell from 759 crores to 475 crores, a decline of minus 37%. Below that, that percentage is minus 37%, that's sales growth. So without Revlimid, we saw sales growth of minus 37%. We moved down, we moved down. You see profit after tax, 132 crores. In December 2024, it was 213 crores, almost a decline of 50%. So 40% plus decline in profit after tax. Okay, 37% decline in revenues because there was no rev limit. So if there's no rev limit from January onwards, January 2026 onwards, because the price is going to decline so hard, that's an issue. That is such a big issue. So we discussed the problem. Okay, we discussed the problem. We discussed how they are anticipating such declines. We saw that in these con calls. See, sorry, we saw that in these con calls. So what is the company going to do now? Now we're going to discuss the growth potentials. We know they're anticipating this is 2025, 2027 earnings are gonna they're gonna be extremely down. So what is onwards? What is from 2027 onwards? That is what we're gonna discuss. Okay, and all this we're gonna discuss in these con calls only. So we're gonna go to February. No, yes, we're gonna go to the February con call. Okay, this is the February con call, and here we're going to go to all the way. Let me make myself smaller. Don't need to see my face. I'm going to go all the way to page 14. Okay, page 14. Yes, yes. So a question is asked. Okay, black line. A question is asked to the management. What is the question? Yes. Thanks for taking the follow up, sir. In the US now, US is Natco's biggest market. Okay, for Natco's revenue potential, US has to be there. That's why he's asking about US. Okay. And Revlimid, see Revlimid mentioned. Okay. So Revlimid is going away now. So thanks for the follow up. So in the US, barring Revlimid, you have a good pipeline of 24 FTF. FTF is first to file, meaning the first application for a generic drug, basically. First to file. And if you are granted a first to file for, let's say, a generic drug, it means you have a 180-day exclusivity in the US market. So you can be the only player to launch that generic drug, that valuable patented drug. You can be the only player for 180 days. Massive for revenue potential. Okay, massive. No competition in this case. So, if I have it correctly from your presentation, can you, I mean, to whatever degree you are comfortable, can you share on the timeline on the launches and what will be the key ones, perhaps with a 3 to 5 year frame, and what could possibly be the ballpark revenue outcome from those? So he's asking that they have 24 FTF, first to file products, first to file claims for 24 different types of drugs in the US. He's asking what are the big drugs which can maybe replace Revlimid and provide that explosive growth potential. The analyst is asking that. So the CEO answers, that's a tough one. But what I will do is I will tell you by size what are the biggest ones that we have. So I mean, obviously, all of them will play out over the next 7 to 10 years. So he's saying 7 to 10 years, okay, not the next 2 to 3 years, not even the next 5 years, 7 to 10 years, long term thinking right here. Okay, so if you want to start with this year, we have Revlimid. We still have Revlimid. Then we have Wegovy and Ozempic whenever that happens. Then the next big one we have is Olaparib. That's a very big one. Then we have Ibrutinib. Ibrutinib is like for treating a kind of, I think, blood cancer. It's a billion-dollar drug. This drug has generated billions of dollars, Ibrutinib. Okay. Here they are the sole first to file. Then they have Erdafitinib, which is where they also have the sole first to file. Again, if they're granted this, that's going to be massive. Then the ones which are shared as sole first to file are probably the most valuable ones. And I think that's what I will look at. The ones that I've mentioned, probably in terms of economic value, are probably the biggest ones. And like mid-level value would be like Carfil, Zomib, 10 mg, and Trebek Denim. Okay. Then I think these are the medium level, and Washington would also be the medium level. But I think the ones I mentioned earlier are probably the biggest ones. Revenue estimation and all is tough to judge all of these things at this time. But I think in terms of upside, these are the big ones. And he confirms that this can give them handsome growth if they put aside revenue bit. So what did he say here? Okay, a lot of technical stuff, which of course I don't understand a bit of this. The big launch is Vegovia Ozempic. Now, Ozempic, you may have heard, is this weight loss product. And one of the big revenue potentials, okay, they have settled. So, Vegovia Ozempic is a multi-billion dollar weight loss product, okay, obesity tackling drug. Novo Nordisk has the patent, and this drug has generated billions of dollars and is one of the most profitable drugs in all of pharmaceutical history. Globally speaking, one of the most profitable drugs. Natco Pharma, I think, has a settlement. They actually have a settlement with Novo Nordisk, and they're trying to plan a launch of a generic version of Ozempic in India, not in the US, which is a major market, but in India in March 2026. So Ozempic generic India launch 2026, and the US launch in the 2030s, early 2030s is what they're planning for this Ozempic. In India, the Ozempic market is like around 3,000 crores, 3,000, maybe somewhere. It's not the biggest market, but it's going to have some explosive growth. That is one thing everyone's estimating. That is, Ozempic market in India is going to have some explosive growth. Okay, so that's one of the revenue potentials, Wegovy and Ozempic. Then Olaparib, I don't know much about Olaparib. Ibrutinib, big drug, big drug. Adafitinib, yeah, I don't know much about that also. So they're anticipating all of these drugs, but I believe because they're anticipating such major fallbacks in revenue, they're going to probably come not next year, not even 27, probably in 28, 29, 30, 31. So next 2 years, they say it's not looking good. After that, yeah. So maybe if you want, you can time the products, time the revenue jump. I'm not saying you can, but maybe you can try to see that next 2 years horrible. Maybe the revenues will go so down, shares will tank, and all that. Again, I can't give financial advice. Maybe one can try to time it, that we read all this, we know, okay, launches are going to come here and here, revenues are going to jump at this time. But who knows? Very hard to do. Then, in this May 29th con call, page number 8, page number 8. Yes. Again, said by management. Okay, again, said by management. The CEO said this. So I think the interesting one that we got this year was one of the strengths of semaglutide. Again, semaglutide is Ozempic only. Ozempic, semaglutide, Wegovy, where we are again the sole first to file. We filed something in April 2024. So that was probably the most exciting one that we filled. Then we filed Risdiplam, another multi-billion dollar drug where they're trying to launch it in India. Okay, that's also shared first to file. So we are one of the two filers. So there are two big ones that we filled in last year. Again, he mentions olaparib, he mentions semaglutide. Go down, he's mentioned again erdafitinib, he's mentioned capmatinib, few types of drugs he has mentioned. He has mentioned Yondelis, another drug, ibrutinib. Again, ibrutinib comes on. So we have like 7 or 8 things. Let's read. We have like 7 or 8 things. And I think it plays out over the next 10 years. So we don't have anything in the next 1 to 2 in the near term. But I think if you take a 10 to 8 to 10 year view, we have these. So the CEO is asking for some leeway, I guess. He's asking that we look at this company over the next 8 to 10 years. We're trying to find out the potential of this company, look at the next 8 to 10 years, because again, he has mentioned some of these launches. Semaglutide, India launched 2026. Okay. Then he's talking then some other things, some big products. The big one I'm looking at is probably NRC 2694, which is late stage head and neck cancer, where we are doing a phase 2. So we have some very interesting phase 2 data. We can probably even get it approved with a limited number of patients. Yes. There is another one possible excitement. Other one is our cell and gene investment. Okay, let's do the earlier paragraph first. Now, big thing, NRC 2694. NRC, okay, these are new chemicals. These are new chemical entities, basically not generics. These all we don't talk about, okay? NCEs, new chemical, I think, entities, cell and gene therapies, all these. Okay, e-genesis, cell and gene investment, NRC 2694. These are investments the company is making. These are long shots. It's an investment the company is making now where they can maybe get a massive return, maybe in the future. So these are long shots, can take a lot of time. These are new chemicals. So these are not generics. Like earlier we talked about Revlimid. Okay, that was a generic. We talked about all these, even like ibrutinib, this semaglutide, all these drugs. These are generic versions they're trying to make of existing drugs. A good business. They have done very well in the past. These all NCEs are like new chemicals, new drugs they're trying to develop. So one is the biggest one is NRC 2694. This is a new drug or a molecule they're developing for late stage head and neck cancer. And head and neck cancer late stage is again a multi-billion dollar market. Again, nothing to be okay. Cancer is bad. But just saying head and neck cancer, that is a multi-billion dollar opportunity. And there they're doing a phase 2 trial. So for medicine approval, there's phase 1 trial, there's phase 2, phase 3. After phase 3 is passed, phase 3 is the final one. There's a phase 4. Phase 4 is where they, I guess, they sell the product, they sell in the market and they see the response. That's phase 4. So the company has passed phase 1, which many products do, doesn't mean it will obviously pass. Phase 1 pass doesn't mean phase 3 will pass. And they're currently doing phase 2 and they are